Hey, everybody. Are we here on the internet? I think we are.
On the internet.
What's up? Hey, everybody. This is PeakD&D live streaming on the interwebs. We are PeakD&D, or at least 3/4 of said organization. And thanks for stopping by today. We're going to get some Dungeons and Dragons topics off of our chests. We're going to talk about some of the more recent things that we've done on our channel if you're playing the home game. And then maybe talk about some upcoming projects as well. I guess now is the time when I say, hi, I'm Ben. And joining me are my two good buddies, Max, Sirac. What's up, Max?
Good morning. I'm into the Saturday morning coffee cartoons.
I love a good
stream, personally.
I love a good coffee
Could we call
talk.
it? We should call it The View at the Peak.
The view at the peak.
The view
from the peak. I'm into it, man.
Okay.
Let's do it.
And we've got speaking of our I can't see him, but you can, our tech guru and gourd extraordinaire, Mr. Tony Madonna. Tony, how you doing today, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing all right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Jazz from your movie marathon we were talking
Fresh
about
off
before
your
the stream.
Nick Cage hungover movie marathon.
Fresh off
Yeah.
of Kansas
Yeah.
City to going to a wedding to vegging out on Nicolas Cage yesterday. It's been a week.
Living the
Nice.
dream.
Nice.
Indeed.
Tony, are you keeping an eye on chat? Because I actually don't have it in here if
Yes.
anybody is wanting to talk to us. But hey, if you're watching live and you want to ask us a question or you have some thoughts on any of our content, or you want to talk about, we're going to talk about our gameplay Beyond the Feywild. And we're also going to touch on some other videos that we've been putting out into the world.
Yeah. We got negative space here, so what's up, man?
Hey,
what's up,
man? Negative space coming through.
Yeah, I think you're going to be
Appreciate
pleased with the script and the way it turned out for non-combat encounters. So
Yes.
mid-ish May, that should be out.
Okay.
But I think there's some good ideas, man, and I think there's
Yeah.
some stuff you can use.
And thank you for submitting the idea and getting us going for D&D
someone
ideas. So we
submitted an
appreciate it.
idea?
Yeah, sort of.
I was so
Yeah.
lost during that whole thing.
Oh, yeah. No, it makes sense. Yeah, no, he commented about Nick being so good at non-combat
Oh.
encounters.
For sure.
And
Nice.
so so it's good. Yeah. Negative space. You're the best to us. So cheers, man. Thank you.
Coffee cheers.
I don't know if they're male or female, actually. Now
That's
that I think
fair.
about it. So, however you choose to identify negative space, thank you so much. That's all.
That's all, folks.
So yeah, as we always do, because this is sort of taken over the slot of our former show called Talking Fey, where we would just sort of do a recap of our gameplay. Feywatch. Dun 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 dun. We can do the slow mo run if we
I
want.
do have a fan. I should put my fan on him.
I think we only have one episode. Last time we had to catch up on several episodes, 3 or 4.
Yeah, it was
so
3.
So this is just one episode we have to catch up on today, but man, it's getting good. It's really starting to wind towards that end game at this point.
It's getting good.
It's so
I'm
crazy
excited.
being ahead of the game, right? And then quite literally, and then putting things out and going back and watching. But it's funny, man, because Nick really has gotten so good at his cliffhangers.
Oh, I
And
love
there's
it.
so many more that just get he's really good at
That's the
ramping up the
truth.
intensity. So
Oh, for
it's
sure.
going to be fun to see how
Yeah.
it all
It
shakes
is.
out.
It is. I mean, I'm a little sad that it's another week or so before we're going to get in the studio and continue to play
Yeah.
from the point that we're at, live recording style, but which
I
is
think-
just insane.
I think our buddy Dave, who's been helping us out with some art, which if anyone else wants to draw stuff, we'll totally put it up on our Battlecam screen for all of that. But I think
absolutely.
so I think the next thing he's going to do is actually in relation to where we left off on our last game. So yeah, I'm
crazy.
excited to see him
Okay.
put that scene together.
Yeah. I'm going to be curious how he does that. It's going to be great.
Mm-hmm.
It's so cool. I love that. I love fan art. I mean, Dave's a friend art, I guess.
Let's just go with original art. The fact that
There
we
we
can
go.
get some original art is cool.
That would be, that's amazing.
From
That's
a-
my dream. That's my dream
from
is
an
someone to
editing
draw a picture of
standpoint.
Jastian and send it to us,
Oh, I like that.
or any of our characters, but I just want fan art.
Selfish son of a.
I mean, are we surprised? Come on.
No, we've always wanted the fan art of Gord getting all lathered up in the sticky sauce.
Oh my God, sticky sauce Gord. That would be amazing. That's like a collectible Funko Pop if I ever saw one.
That is our first Funko. That's how
when the Funko Pops come out. It'll be Sticky Gord. Collector's edition, only available at San Diego Comic-Con.
Is that just like a gourd with spines on it?
I think it's
like
glossy. I think it's glossy instead of matte. It looks glossy.
Yeah, he's like gloss finish, like gloss covered finish. In sap. But he's
amber, like an amber gloss.
Yeah.
Like sepia tone.
It's different from the regular Gord, who is like, he's got the silver armor and the like teal tabard and the the big feathered plume across his helmet.
What would be the scene Illinsworth would be fan arted? Trying to think.
Illinsworth?
Probably the most recent kind of stuff that we've been doing, actually.
I was gonna say, I'm not entirely sure. There could be lots of I don't know, man. I'm not sure the best one's been yet. Maybe
it'll depend on like
certainly not from the viewer standpoint, but perhaps from from where we're at in filming. Yeah. There's been a couple nuggets there that could be or like a panel strip of like 1, 2, 3.
the transition.
Yes.
Oh man.
We'll leave it at that because we don't want to do any spoilers, but the transition indeed.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, there may be a point where like we'll know where you are in the campaign based upon your fan art.
Oh, sweet. So Negative Space says he really likes the art and animations because he usually listens to games on YouTube, but he watches a lot of ours. So that's actually pretty cool.
Right on.
Which makes me feel good, Negative Space, because I do all the editing, and sometimes I'm just like, no one's watching this out from start to finish, so no one's really going to notice what I'm doing. But I appreciate you noticing. It's awesome.
No, it is, man, and it's a testament too, Tony, because like it's cool to watch. Like we talk about how Nick's gotten really good at his cliffhangers, right, and how like he's gotten better as it's gone on. But like what you've done with the editing for the gameplay, I think is pretty rad too, man. Like you've helped create, Tony, like a really like an engaging thing to watch, and it's cool, man. So like dude.
Kudos.
From that standpoint, just asking you guys from a back of the house, did you guys notice the like minute-long stuff that I put in for the ad placement, the shameless plugs of last episode?
Did I notice them?
Yeah.
I
thought that was great.
Good?
Yeah. No, I thought it was good, man.
Cool.
If anything, like I know it depends completely on how the episode like actually functions. Right. But no, man, I think that was a good place to play around. And I don't think they were like too terribly obnoxious. And
nice.
There are a bunch of Kickstarters going around. So I was going to like pin a comment or put something in the description.
Yeah.
On this live stream too, because a lot of those campaigns are wrapping up.
Yeah. I just wanted to, it was a nice little pocket of, I think, a minute long that had all the things that weren't too distracting. And then, ended up promoting some of our stuff. So I'm glad that you guys at least like the first iteration of what that's could be.
Yeah, hopefully, all of our viewers, you're not too upset with our shameless plugs, and it shouldn't impact the experience. I don't think.
Why is there shame? I guess they're shameless plugs.
So we're doing it. I have
so
no
then
shame.
Why are you apologizing if you have no shame, Ben?
I don't know.
You paladin of self-destruction, you.
I was gonna say because I'm Oath of the Martyr. I don't know what do you want from me?
Everything. I want it all, Ben. No, man.
And I want it now, in the words of Queen.
Yes.
It was a Freddie Mercury. Yes.
Word. So let's talk about that episode, right? Like it fresh off, because we were like descending down into the depths, right?
I just want to point out how exceptionally reckless it was of me to just to risk the wand of fireballs. Like I was.
What did you risk it? Oh,
because I emptied it. I just we saw something in that big room, and I was just like,
you emptied
that.
That's right.
I mean,
threw it.
You emptied it.
Use for it though. to be honest.
Yeah, but I mean, what is there, like a 5% chance?
5% chance. But as anyone who plays Dungeons and Dragons knows, that's not an insignificant number.
Well, no number is insignificant. And I mean, come on, man. How many ones and hundreds have we rolled, right? Like it happens all the time.
Yeah, fair enough. That's
true.
At the same time, well, and I guess this is going to be spoilers. I dare say things would have been a bit more dire had you not done that. As I recall, like thinking ahead to the next episode that's going to come out. Because that fight was not great.
No, because we started half down. Because as we left our heroes, I'm pretty sure Max was on the broom of flying 40 feet up. But,
most definitely.
But frozen, and Grognak also froze.
Yeah, I mean, Grognak and I have been, growing closer, and this is
growing closer in saving throws.
Well, and sure, but yeah, no, that's another. Yeah, I mean, you guys held that down. That's next week, but
and yet again, half elf for the win. I kept making those saving throws with advantage, and it was great.
Yeah,
yes, certainly negative space. The end of the last one was the facade of diplomacy being over, is what.
For sure.
I mean,
it certainly looked that way, but it also wasn't. It wasn't like explicit that we were going into combat, but it certainly looked that way.
The downfall of us and our like make friends first policy is that like sometimes you can't make the friends.
Which honestly I think is awesome that he like thinks that like that people are going to be like, wait, is it combat? Is it going to go? Is it? Or are they going to talk their way out of it? I kind of like that from the viewer standpoint of not knowing which way it's going to go.
And I loved the fact, like the callback in that episode to like the fact that you fell down in a pit again, Tony, and like, it's such a beautiful.
I think that's the quote I use for me too on the description. If anyone keeps up playing the home game, looking at the quotes on the description that I choose.
Yeah, everyone gets a good like one-liner in there that ends up in the description, and I love that.
I think mine was like, why do I keep falling in a pudding, or I hate falling in a pudding, or something like that.
Yeah. Although that was not actually like an ooze or a pudding or a creature. It was like a vat of little tiny ear gobbos.
Yeah,
that I could not see for quite some time.
Yeah, it took forever. I kept trying to like slap it off of you. And you were like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? Leave me alone.
Like, there's nothing on me. What is going on here?
But see, that's good. I appreciate our role playing with that. Like, obviously, out of game, you knew exactly what was happening and you knew what was going on. But like, I appreciate sticking to like in game of like, well, I don't know.
It's difficult sometimes. Like, being. I honestly, I think I'm probably the worst of us. Like, as far as metagaming goes. Like I really have to think about it when I'm like, because I know what a lot of the creatures are because I DM and I know this game pretty well.
Yeah,
we all do, but like, I have a harder time I think than the two of you to be like, oh, I know exactly what this is. But usually Nick lets me roll an Arcana check and I can have a little bit of information. But
that's also fair.
I do my best not to metagame. Because Jastian has never seen a mind flayer.
Well, even like, so at what point?
I don't know. Maybe he has in his travels.
Yeah, I mean, and also
maybe he's read a book about it.
I was going to say his Warlock manga. I'm sure they appear as villains.
That's for sure.
I also am curious because, like, originally that episode starts right. We find the bodies with like the with like the holes in their heads, but even at that point, which like you would think, like, man, I mean, we've been playing this game for 20 years, right? Like. Ben, you and I together even. And like, so yeah, I've been playing this game for easily half my life. And it still is so funny, man, that like it did not register at all that
with you
mind flares. No? Oh, not even a little bit, man.
Oh,
not until the briny pool. And I was just like,
I knew instantly.
Yeah. Like,
I mean, yeah, like Ben said, like I guess like me and Max are a little bit better at the metagaming or whatever at the table, but like I was like, oh yeah, we're fighting a mind flayer, 100%.
This is a credit to Nick. Well, when he said the brains were gone, I thought I was thinking intellect devourers, but
which
again,
is
never seen
adjacent to a mind flayer.
They're mind flayer adjacent. They're
brain eaty.
They're brain eaty.
That's what I thought. But then I was like, no, I don't think that they don't bore out the head when they leave.
Yeah.
As far as I know.
I think
they just like explode.
I think maybe I thought about that because I have played, it's been a while, but I have played through 2.5 times the intro of Baldur's Gate 3, and that's kind of the preface.
Yeah.
Mind flares, and there's stuff that goes inside your brain or your eyes or something like that. So I was kind of already primed for that. Yes.
Tangent. Did you guys play through Siege of Dragonspear?
No.
Okay. Dave and I, we just finished Baldur's Gate 1 and just started Siege of Dragonspear, which is like the stopgap to get you to 2. So I'm just curious. I know that you had played it with Greg.
Gotcha.
Word.
Is that like Dragon Lance?
No.
Okay.
No, it isn't.
Got it.
Obviously, spears are not lances, Ben.
Spears are not lances, as we all know.
Of course, not that they're both just long pointy objects, but whatever.
They require a riding proficiency, land animals.
I think it's a testament to Nick's storytelling, I think. But I also there are, and it hasn't been it will be a D&D ideas eventually, but I will want to talk about group flow and engaging in group flow through our small group. And I don't know enough about it yet, but I'm learning before I can put more stuff out there. But there's something to that, I think, where in Nick's games, there is a level of immersion that I think we are all able to get, that I can feel personally. And I think part of it has to do with the small group size. I think part of it has to do with our attention and focus, the fact that we have cameras on us. But there is a level of immersion, right? Where I don't think very meta. And so it isn't until after the fact where it's oh yeah, I should have seen that coming, with mind flares, with brains being devoured and things like that. And to me, that's the most satisfying Dungeons and Dragons experience. Get a group of people, get into that group flow, make something awesome, have a lot of fun, do it again next week.
For sure. I think that, I don't know. I mean, I think the group size certainly helps. I feel like we've done it on occasion with a bigger group, our monthly group outside, our sort of home game that isn't on the internet. I feel like there were definitely moments when things would start to click in that, and that there's a larger group. And even going back to the 3-5 games, the weekly group that bloated until it had 14 players that one night, or 16. It was insane. Way too many. But there were even a couple of combats. I think about that one that we were up on the when my cleric got feeble-minded and was intelligence 3 for a hot second, that just started throwing poop.
Sure.
Like a monkey.
Sure.
Like a little chimpanzee in the zoo. It was hilarious.
About that.
Yeah, but that was a good flow going on in that battle. We were all, I was more detracting at that point, but up until that point, I had done a lot of pretty good healing, and we were. I think it's because the group's so big that everybody has a specified role. You've got a healer, you've got a buffer, you've got some tanks up front. We were doing some good combat efficacy.
Yeah, I think so. From what I do know about a group flow, what I can tell you is that the things that prevent it the most are distraction and loss of attention and focus. And so I think the bigger the group, the more Ben,
more opportunities for that to happen.
How many years have I been I want to ban technology from tables?
Absolutely.
Since possibly 2005.
Yeah, you've been beating that drum for quite some time. And do we ever listen? No.
But I think with our group, yes, granted, you have, character sheets are on your phone, Ben, and sometimes the iPad comes out for D&D Beyond. But I think there's something about devices and that engagement of the group that really is the difference maker. And so,
I will say, when I was our last Tyranny of Dragons campaign, I've honestly, I found the computer invaluable. It was so much faster than looking up all the rules, and being able to reference them and search them on D&D Beyond was I think that only helped. but like I also didn't have a video game up in another window. You know what I mean? Like because I'm running the game, I had focus.
From the DM's perspective, that's a different. That's different.
It's a good tool.
I get it. And then like, but also like with player, you know, if you're going to be on like social media, if you're going to be like scrolling Instagram or scrolling through your phone or on Twitter, or whatever it is, right? Like anything that takes away from your attention on the game detracts from the game.
For sure.
Yes.
That's it. That's my stance. That's where I'm at.
And I would completely agree with you. I think that's a very good point.
And because I have crappy boundaries, I assume other people have crappy boundaries. So it's like, you know, if you don't want to eat junk food, don't have junk food in the house. Like if you don't want to be distracted, don't have your devices.
Indeed.
That's me.
I mean, there is something good, something very appealing about just a paper and pen and, you know, physical game, you know, paper and pencil. Physical game, you know, like paper character sheets, paper books, physical books, paper books, e-books, as opposed to e-books. That's all. Tree paper.
Not stone paper, which is a thing.
Nope.
And get the good stuff. Get the good paper. Don't get the crappy paper.
Word. Yeah. Do you guys have any? What else do we have? What else was in that gameplay that?
We saw the strange like orcs that were mind flayer controlled.
Mm-hmm.
We ran into those dudes who were like they had the Eye of Grumsh, but it was the
they took like 3 critical hits, that one guy.
Oh yeah, those dudes were hard to put down.
I put a critical hit. I think you put a critical hit, Max, and I also had like not a critical, but I think I rolled max damage on something with Divine Smite, and he was still up.
Dude, your rolls, you were on fire, man.
That was that was that that episode where I just kept rolling 20s.
Yeah, you rolled 3 natural 20s inside of a minute. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, like or a couple minutes. It was insane, and it was like, what? Yeah,
and it's Gord was a good thing too.
Yeah, Gord was just wrecking face, and that it was amazing. I think I was failing as soon as we entered. I started rolling very poorly on. It's like in the first room of that thing.
And you called yourself out on it. You definitely made a comment about your pops being around.
Yeah, it's like, he's nearby.
We're getting closer.
I know it. That's how I know we're on the right path, is when I start
my rolls get lower, we get closer.
I'm like, okay.
It's like it's like Captain Jack Sparrow's compass.
Yeah.
Except it's dice.
That's how I roll. Literally.
That is how you roll.
And so that was a fun episode, and it only gets better. Man, I'm just so excited to see how this wraps up. I can't wait.
It's as I think about it, like this is there's a lot of interesting things to come. Like in a way, this was like a step towards our first step towards the end game.
Yeah.
Going down into this temple.
It was like the start of Act
3.
5. I don't know what act we're on, but the last one
depends on if we're going the classical drama route or the Shakespearean drama route, and then that and I think only the end will determine.
Is Shakespearean 5 then?
Shakespearean's 5 act.
Okay.
Talk to me about those acts, Sir Thespian.
Oh well, Shakespearean tragedies or Shakespearean format is 5 acts. Generally, you have the introduction is the first act. It sort of sets the stage, introduces the problem, and then the second act is the rising action. The third being the climax. The fourth being the denouement, the falling action, the results of everything that led to what happened in the third act.
Interesting.
And the fifth is the resolution of the plot, that if it's a tragedy, everyone usually dies. If it's a comedy, everyone gets married. That's sort of the difference in Shakespearean tragedies.
Right. It's fascinating to me that it's like a
fate worse than death, as we all know.
Not all of us. It's interesting. So it's a bell curve, like in a way.
Yes.
The 5-act structure is definitely a bell curve. I would not have expected the climax to be in the third act.
It is. It typically is. Yeah. And it's different than we than we think of a climax, right? That it is the penultimate act that causes everything else to fall into place at that point. It's not the most dramatic point.
It's like the inciting incident.
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, so it isn't like the peak of the action necessarily. Yeah. It is more like Tony said, like that inciting incident that causes.
Because then the fourth act is the fallout that leads to probably the climax. It's like the effect of the cause. Yeah. And then the climax is probably buried there somewhere in the fourth act. And then it resolves in the fifth.
Yes. So it's like the most dramatic point. I'm sort of thinking like
froze. No.
Did I?
I was kidding. Yeah, I did. I thought that. No, he was just thinking.
Just thinking real hard. I was thinking of like Romeo and Juliet, right? And so the climax of that is
Juliet taking the poison.
Well, that's like one of the more dramatic points of it, but that's all caused because Romeo kills Tybalt, and that's what happens in Act 3, which is a fairly violent and dramatic part on stage, but that is the incident that causes everything else to happen afterwards. That like because he kills Juliet's cousin, and then they spend the night together. They wake up in Act 4, and that they having spent the night together, and they leave and they plan to escape, and then she finds out about Tybalt the next day, and Romeo's not there, and then he goes to the apothecary to try to get secreted out of out of the way, and then who ends up killing Romeo? Anyway, so they hatch this. Then they have to hatch this plan that she's going to fake her own death, and yada yada yada. But
that's the climax that like we think of as the climax.
Yeah, we think of that as like when
the runaway
at the end when they all take their own, when she takes her own life.
Right.
Or he takes his own life, but she wakes up, and then the big,
Right. And then everyone runs into the streets and dances and sings a song.
Yep. Pretty much. West Side Story.
There you go.
Yeah. Which is the same sort of thing.
Yep.
But like the finale of Act 1 at the end is gearing up for the big fight. Like it's tonight. It's the Jets are gonna have their day tonight. But like that's not the the big fight, and then Riff gets killed, who's essentially
Tybalt.
Benvolio.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tybalt is Bernardo.
Oh,
and Bernardo dies too. Because he gets mad. Oh, that's right. Because in West Side Story, Romeo gets mad because Riff dies. Sorry, Tony gets mad because Riff dies. And then he goes
Tony,
and he gets mad, and he kills Bernardo. So Riff and Bernardo are both dead on the floor at the end of Act 1.
I might be more confused now than I was at the beginning when I asked you this question about the 5-act structure.
Hey, listen,
I appreciate that, and thank you.
I'm getting flashbacks to LayerCon, so
good Lord.
What?
Our drive back.
Yes.
Tell me, Ben, about Oklahoma.
I was summarizing musicals in the worst possible.
No, the best possible.
It's a good thing I have all those recordings. The audio is terrible, but I have them.
In a future reality that we have a Kickstarter, we'll have some crazy ridiculous number of like money that you can, and you get the audio files for Ben of his musicals.
Or we'll just adapt them and do like a drunk history style recreation.
I like
that. Would be funny with the animatics.
Yeah,
that would be with Hero Forge characters.
Yes. I love it.
That'd be cool. That could be a cool stretch goal for something.
Maybe. Well, I liked Nick's idea. I mean, I don't know if it'll ever happen or if we'll have it, of like how to do the recaps.
Yeah.
I love that idea. I really want to do that.
Yeah. I mean, I think it'd be cool. Because it's true. Like if somebody finds the channel, right, and it's like, all right, just watch 150 hours of footage and catch up. That's a big ask.
It is.
Yeah. If we could narrow it down to like 20 minutes, that would be great.
I mean,
yeah.
For Into the Fae, we kind of did.
No, you're right.
I kind of did a version of that.
Well, I think we should, we should adapt that framework and sort of use that as the the skeleton of this animatic.
The Talking Fae minute-long recaps and just spliced it all together. And honestly, I watched it back when I put it together. And I was like, all right, that actually kind of hits the beats.
It's not terrible. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely entertaining. And I think possibly there's a wiki. We've talked about like putting together some sort of wiki as well. So we'll see if that happens.
That would be great because I think then people could be like, who is this person?
Oh, totally.
Yes.
We'll see.
Yes.
We'll see.
Yeah, it's interesting. I actually, it's funny now because I got the Into the Fae like tokens and stuff with all the art of the characters.
Oh.
And so like, you know, all these characters who look completely different in my mind all have different art, especially, you know, my
than what we rolled out to the world.
Your paramour.
My sweet darling Thelma.
Hey man, I mean, Kissinger said like power is the biggest aphrodisiac, and like Jastian has a thing for ladies in power,
powerful ladies who tell him what to do.
Like, oh, you want my blood? Okay,
sounds good.
Here you go.
Nothing like a lady in uniform.
Hey, there you be, man.
You know, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. So have we? I think we've talked this episode to death. I don't know. Any other final thoughts about that?
No, I'm excited. Just like in watching it, my biggest takeaway from watching it was like, oh yeah, things are about to get real good.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm excited for that.
I'm excited for the next few episodes to come out. Well, one came out today, as a matter of fact, that you can go and. Oh, it didn't, because we're doing this instead. Right, it's next week. Yes. I'm sorry.
Because Tony
I was like, oh, it's Saturday. Yeah, because Tony was out of town. But we're doing our live stream today instead, which you guys are in for a treat.
And because the sketch came out on Tuesday, we were like, oh, let's try to do something on Saturdays.
A different, than another video is what we.
Yes. And all of this makes perfect sense to my brain as the coffee is slowly replacing my blood.
Yes, so that sounds great.
Good. It's good.
Yeah, I was pleased with how the sketch turned out for those of you that may have watched it.
Yeah,
man. I mean, going really well.
Definitely. I mean, like, we were at like 1,400 views last I saw. I was like, that's the best video. That's the biggest video we've ever done.
Yeah. It's over 1,500 now.
Is it?
Yeah, as of yesterday.
Rad.
Evening.
No, it was cool, man. It was cool to see a bunch of comments too, and like it seemed as though folks genuinely enjoyed it. I do like the eye for continuity that a lot of the folks that will watch this stuff have, and like noticing the errors we made in editing.
Yes.
And filming.
I would say filming. Yes.
Yeah, and I think we fixed those issues because we sort of made some assumptions about like where Luke was and where he was going to be looking.
Sure.
But then,
we
fit in our next collaboration that comes out at the end of this or May, at the end of May.
Yeah.
We'll see. I'm hopeful that we will have fixed those issues. We included diagrams.
Yes.
To be like, okay, this person is sitting here in relation to Luke, and so we referencing that, we all sort of changed where we were looking.
Yeah.
Because that's what we get for filming. You know, we have to film 5 states away. He's in Michigan. We're in Colorado.
It's super funny though that we had like a 50% chance that we both got him wrong. We looked one way and Luke looked like we had a pretty solid chance of actually nailing that just out of happenstance, and we just didn't.
Yeah. Hey man, mischances are real.
For sure.
That is the truth.
But hopefully it'll help, and they'll know. You know, I think I'll be interested to see, because we now have all the footage, so we can start putting it together.
Yep.
So Zach can probably fix it.
Yep, I gotta send it over to him this week, I believe.
Yeah, no, that'll be fun.
Well,
go ahead.
I was gonna say we just did some audio remastering that I was telling Tony about, so we uploaded that from the next sketch coming up, which is pretty exciting. I don't think we're not going to say anything about what it is.
Oh,
right?
no, but I like it. It's that, and that's actually like
it.
In watching. Well, yeah, it's because we broke Ben during
filming.
Oh
my god! And that's on the audio recording, like that whole thing.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean the mics are rolling for sure.
I'm not on camera when that happens.
No, like, Tony is on camera when that happens.
No, the first one Nick was on camera.
The first one was Nick. and I was holding a light over Nick.
Oh, right. I was holding the other light.
That was
super thrilled that you couldn't get your shit together, Ben.
Yeah, Tony was behind the camera. You and I were on lights, and
right.
Oh my god,
Nick was on the camera, and it was like,
was he like doing his turnaround? Like what?
No, it's what I said.
We were adjusting the lights.
Oh, that's right.
Tony,
what did you?
He said,
move forward, backward. Like
it was like more
move it towards behind
you. Yeah,
move it towards behind you. Yeah,
and that just, I was listening to it, and I was like, I sound like a maniac. Like I couldn't stop laughing.
And it was instantaneous too.
Exhaustion.
It was instantaneous. You just broke like instantly.
Yeah,
it wasn't like a build up. It was like done.
Like towards behind you.
Just
like, what does that even mean?
Well, I mean, we were also. I think that we were shooting like
for that.
Yeah, we were shooting comedy. It had been like we'd been in the studio for a couple hours at that point, and so I think that it's good, man. I mean, I dare say it's probably a good if you're trying to make people laugh, it's probably a good thing
that we were laughing during. Yeah, absolutely.
And then when I was behind the audio desk, and
then my character.
And then you had your little, it's like a bit part. It's one friggin' line, and it was just destroying me.
Yeah.
I couldn't keep it together.
Max destroyed me too, to be fair.
Oh, thanks, man.
All of our caricatures are just funny. Ridiculous. They were just, I had no idea how they were actually going to play out, acting out and what that actually looked like. Because I got into that character when the camera started rolling. I just kind of went with something and it worked. And I think Max, you kind of did something of a similar vein of we kind of honed in exactly what you were doing, and it's hilarious. Max is hilarious.
No, well, thank you. No, so that's the thing. Watching the sketches this month, obviously fingers crossed, oh man, I hope people like it. I hope it's good because it'd be great to be able to keep doing it. But then it just made me really excited for the next one to come out. Cause I'm like, oh man, I think the next one's better.
I think so. I mean, in a way that because it was the shooting, we learned some things from shooting this first one, obviously.
That's very true.
And timing, and I think this one's going to be a little tighter, a little shorter. And who knows what happens with the next one, but I think it'll be interesting to see if this one's slightly shorter.
Yeah.
The first half might be longer. Maybe.
I mean,
maybe.
But Nick had
our
our
second half should be 2 minutes. Maybe.
Oh yeah, no. Oh, the second half's going to be for sure.
Yes.
So I'm curious about that sketch, Ben did. So when Tony was on camera giving his performance that broke you, the second time, was it the dialogue, the delivery, or the
physical, or
the physicality?
It was Tony's physical.
Okay, cool.
Physical embodiment of that character in that moment.
That's all I wanted to know.
The sight gag, I think, was just too
and my
much.
Costume was too fucking much too, man.
On top of everything, it was a
I've still yet to look at that footage yet, and I'm just super curious what I actually look like.
Dude, I can't wait to see what background you put behind it and all of that, Tony. I think it's gonna be.
God,
I'm excited.
I hope it's a sky background, you just literally end up in
Borealis and just.
Yeah, whatever, dude. In Tony, I trust. It'll be awesome. But no, I'm glad. I'm really glad that people. Luke's a real practical dude. So especially when it comes to his channel, and so secretly, obviously we had a lot of fun doing it, but in my mind it was all right, well, the one thing that will put a kibosh on all of this is if people see these videos and do not like them.
Yes.
And so fortunately,
but we've gotten a lot of good feedback on both videos.
Absolutely, the comments were.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it seems to be garnering a fairly average number of it's not taking off compared to some of his other videos, but this is not his usual DM advice type video either, so it's I'm sort of comparing it to other quick videos that he does.
I tried to go look at the last sketch he did and just kind of compare it, but I think the timestamp was 3 months ago.
Yeah, it's been a while since he's done
a
D&D
as far as when all those views happened in the span of 3 months, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because we can't see his analytics, so we don't know. But
yes,
fair. Yeah, okay.
I mean, he might tell us.
I think it was in the tens of thousands or something like that.
Yeah, he usually, most of his videos have, 20,000, 15,000 views on average, but that's usually after a few months.
Yeah, makes sense.
And so right now, I mean, inside of a week, he got 5,000 with this one. So that's
crazy. I hadn't checked it.
It's like 4.6, I think, is what the last I saw.
Oh, wow.
4.2 is what I'm seeing right now. I'm looking it up.
Yeah.
Okay. Word.
But it's kind of cool too.
But I mean,
look from that,
hey,
like,
man, that's awesome.
We're getting about half. We're getting about half of that on top.
Yeah.
And about 3/4 of the views that we got are from directly from the end screen from his videos. So like I've been looking at some of the analytics.
That's awesome.
Oh, fascinating.
It's the only video we've ever had that even shows up as like a source that people have, because like usually it's like 1.2% of our views that come from an end screen of somebody else.
Yeah, man.
Or like, and generally those are like recommended videos for people, or they're not like direct links. Plus we also we can't put a
let's see,
like a link, like a end screen link to that video.
Yeah.
We can do within our own videos, but like
we can't do it to another video. Why is he able to?
Because he's monetized.
Ah, gotcha.
So we're not quite there yet. We're very close.
So close.
We're very close to a community tab as well, which is very exciting.
So yeah, Max. So March 22nd was his last sketch.
Okay.
And it's sitting at almost 12,000.
Oh, word.
What it's worth.
Okay. Sweet.
So
well,
honestly,
good to know.
like that's a month ago. So I feel like we're certainly on that trajectory. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Within a month to get to that point, because we're already at like 4,000. So, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Word. Well, like I said, he's a practical dude. So hopefully it keeps going and it'll get a little bit better, and then we'll get to keep doing this.
Yeah. And the other thing that I thought was kind of cool too, just looking, which I don't know, I don't put a lot of clout into it, but like all of the likes have been likes, which is kind of cool. Like if you like our video, we have 100% like.
Yeah.
average.
Well, also YouTube has changed. The thumbs down doesn't do anything anymore.
But it still keeps tabs on it though, doesn't it?
I don't know. It says
like
they all say 100% liked now, because it does. I don't know that it factors in the dislikes.
Interesting.
But
so it's like the closed door button on the elevator. It doesn't actually do anything. It just makes you feel better.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
you're
just
right.
a button that lights up.
Sorry, I just disliked our live stream just to see what would happen.
Oh, you son of a!
How dare you?
I
They still have a dislike. I thought they were getting rid of the dislike button altogether. And
Probably, yeah.
YouTube.
But so I
YouTube's
clicked on it, and I
crazy.
think what it does is that it's gotten rid of the number next to it. You can
Yeah,
still
it doesn't
dislike
tell
it,
you how many people.
And like I got a
dislike it.
notification that was like, "We'll let the creator know." So I don't know where that goes. I don't know
Oh,
if
interesting.
that
Well, I guess
if
that's
you
that'll be good feedback to know.
Yeah, it just doesn't display it publicly anymore. Because it used to say like, 34 likes and 4 dislikes.
And
We'll have to play
4,000
around with-
dislikes.
We'll have to play around with that, like dislike some videos and just see where it goes as far as the notification, because it did say we'll notify the creator of this. So
So maybe that's. I mean, maybe we don't have any dislikes on that video, but like.
well, I did not know that information, so that changes
Yeah.
everything. But I just noticed that as a thing. So
It doesn't display it, but it might affect the percentage that we see, because right now, it says like 100% like this
right.
video.
Yeah, exactly. And it was 100.
So if someone dislikes it, it might go down to like 99% likes, but it just won't display
That's how
that
it's
info
done.
anymore.
That's how it's done in the past. It's done that in the past.
Years.
But
man, it was a blast filming the next one, and getting to be a part of Luke's operation is super cool for us.
Just the fact that he's willing to like help us out.
Us little small time YouTubers.
Yeah, no, it's cool,
For
man.
now.
Yes, and then one day we will return that favor. Be like, yes, you can join us, Luke. We'll help
We
you
will.
out.
We will
One
take
day-
him under our collective wing and
one day I'll ask
show
you
him a
for
thing or
favor.
two.
No, I'm glad. Like I do. I mean, it's super fun and it's good for us, and it's been fun. So hopefully we get to keep doing it, right?
Yeah, man.
Hopefully, man, it's been great so far. I enjoyed them.
It has been good to sort of learn at the foot of the master, and like get some cool ideas and advice. And Luke is just, I mean, I can't say enough nice things about Luke and his whole team. His whole team is like, and to even
Rock
consider
stars,
ourselves
dude.
even
Every one of them.
an ancillary part of it is
Dude.
beyond humbling.
Yes.
100%.
No, everyone that's part of the Lair crew is awesome. And it's rad,
We'll see
man.
if that happened.
So it's cool to be a part of that community for sure. And I think what's like, it's so fortuitous too, because like Ben, literally, I mean, was it like a week before the whole like collaboration with Luke thing came about, that you were like, man, I really want to like explore doing some sketches. Was it a month?
It was you and I were talking about it, and we were like, we want to do other content. Like, what do we want to do? And I was like, I don't know, man. I've always wanted to make funny videos, like just make, because that's what I used to do in high school with, my camcorder, my mini DV camcorder. I would just make ridiculous, stupid videos, like a minute with my friends. This was before there was really a platform like YouTube to even, or TikTok or anything to put it on.
Yep.
But it was like YouTube existed, but in its infancy. And it was, it was just like, I want to make some funny videos. And I would literally edit with a VCR.
Yep.
Like that's how I would edit videos.
It makes me think about like Chris and Jeff back in the day, how they made a bunch of videos and did all that kind of stuff.
No, I mean, I did that too with my friends in high school. Again, like before.
I did it by myself in high school because I didn't have any friends.
Yeah. But it was very shortly after, like not even a couple, like maybe a couple months ago, March or February, that I was like, yeah, I think it would be fun to like make funny videos. And just, I don't know what that is, but like, and we were talking about, and then you came to the group and you were like, hey, Luke wants to maybe do a sketch with us, and would you guys be into that? And I was like,
hell yeah.
Okay. So that's pretty great.
No, it's good that it's assimilated into our workflow nicely.
For sure.
So it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah.
It's also just, it's a blast to film those things. So
yeah.
Well, it's good. As if we're having fun, we're doing something right.
Yeah.
Hopefully the rest of the world will catch up at some point.
By and large, right, results pretty much way out of our control, right? The only thing we can do is like focus on the stuff we can control. But I contend, man, like if we are having a good time, like that's the best thing we can do to, I don't know, help our results.
Yeah. Well, that's some of the best feedback we've gotten consistently over time, is just that it looks like, for our gameplay, for our videos, like people always say, it looks like you guys are having a good time, and you genuinely have a good time playing this game with each other. And
that's certainly the number one thing that we've heard, and from like Ed Robinson, who is the DMLair, that's what he's always said. And I think that's kind of what my North Star of this project for me was going into this. And I think I told you guys when we started, was like, we just have to we can't really don't change ourselves. Like all we have to do is be genuine and play the game that we play. Because that's once we start changing things and I don't know, reformatting or trying too hard, like is the second we're going to lose everything, like we're going to lose that X factor of just being genuinely playing D&D in a genuine way and the way we do it.
Yep.
And I think that's what Ed usually commends us on, is like, he's like, they're playing to the game first before the audience, which makes it more appealing to watch because they're actually playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
And they're
doing
say
a service, the game a service is what last time I saw him like a couple months ago on a stream is what he said. So, which is awesome.
Yeah. And I think too, like similarly with like sketches, right? Like if it makes you laugh, that's kind of like the barometer, the indication, right? Of like, of that, the like analogous, indication in off of gameplay to that.
I think it would be super like instantaneous, I think, for all of us if we were doing something wrong. Like if we're filming something at some point, like it would be noticeable that we're like, this isn't it. Like this, I think it would be a noticeable energy that we would feel.
I don't know if I agree with you.
No?
And that's only because like from all of the years, like Ben and I with like the podcast, like there has been, and maybe this could just be me. So this could certainly just be idiosyncratic to me, but there is a disconnect, or has been a disconnect, where like we will record something and I'll be like, oh man, that was trash. And then I'll come back and listen to it and be like, oh, it wasn't so bad. And so I would be curious. Like, I'd be curious.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Max, you and I have the benefit of, well, we've all been friends for quite some time now, but like Max and I have been friends for more than a decade, almost 2 decades at this point. My God. And like and so you and I, we also have had a podcast for going on
a decade
as
of now.
So we're used to, talking to each other about anything. So like, I think that only helps benefit our group dynamic in the game setting, in like things like this, in our live streams and other things like that, because we have a good rapport as a group of individuals and friends. And I think all we can hope to do is get better at portraying that and expressing that through the camera, through the world of YouTube. You know what I mean? Like that's how we're going to improve without, and like Tony said, like, we're not out to change anything, or we'll try new things. We'll do fun videos and other types of videos, but like,
it'll be how we
core,
do them, you know what I mean? Like it's not how this channel does them, so we're going to try to do it that way, where it's not that, it's we do them, we are true to ourselves, I guess is the thing that I notice of everything we do, is that we don't try to do something that someone else is doing, if that makes sense.
And I will contend, if we crash and burn, we're going to crash and burn together.
Yep.
and that's okay, because still,
I don't know, Ben, you probably have this too, like you've edited some videos, like every time I edit a video, like I'm laughing. Just editing, like all the time. So
I enjoy a lot of the things that just editing and putting and just seeing those moments again is like enjoyable for me.
I think it's hilarious.
Yeah. I think when you do the next Luke sketch, I feel like I was laughing just listening to the audio.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it done, to be honest, because I'll just be laughing.
Right.
But to your point, Max, like I think I've had that similar vein of like where you're like, that's trash, and then you listen back, you're like, oh, it wasn't that bad. Like I've had that personally in our project of like, there's been a couple sessions where I'm like, I didn't talk at all. Like that episode, I didn't do anything. Or I as you know, Max is single too, but the token single guy in Denver that randomly got drunk a lot on Sunday nights and came in hungover most Monday mornings.
Word, yeah, you were on a good. You were on a good I
was on a tear. I don't know why Sundays were my party night, but they ended up being my party night.
Like a smooth 8 weeks, I want to say.
But I would feel awful, like physically awful. But then somehow I watch it back, I'm like, I can tell. I still turned it on. I don't know. So I've had those similar veins of like, that was not good. I should, but then I watch it back. I'm like, oh, it's fine. It ends up being fine.
It's fine. Everything's fine. Right.
Everything's fine. The Elven Court, I noticed in the Elven Court, I did not talk a lot, but it also didn't take away. It was weird. It didn't I didn't notice that watching it back. That Gord didn't talk a lot.
I would argue that that's not Gord's particular arena in which to shine.
But that's exactly what came across when I rewatched it. But in my head at the session, I was like, I'm not doing anything right now. And is anyone going to notice? Is anyone noticing that Gord's not doing anything? Is anyone noticing?
I still contend. I think Illinsworth was the savior of that, and like by all measures, it should have been Jastian's moment to shine, as the face, the charismatic talker, and I just didn't have anything. I was like, I had a couple of points that I wanted to make, but
I got nothing.
I think you carried that trial, Max.
Yes,
Illinsworth.
Firstly,
I would agree.
Thank you. Secondly,
thank you.
Yeah, no. I mean, it doesn't. I mean, I appreciate. It's nice to hear that. I think there's some there's non-Dungeons and Dragons related reasons for that, right? I have your time in real life, Ben. I don't know how much bandwidth you have to to think about the game when it's not time for the game. Whereas I have a bit more bandwidth and space in that regard, a bit more flexibility. And so I oftentimes find myself, if I need to get into a creative place just in general, whether I'm writing or for any sort of project that I'm doing, the quickest way for me to get there is to think about Dungeons and Dragons. And whether that's think about what just happened in a gameplay or what's about to happen in the next session, or characters or something, it's just that path towards creativity and divergent thinking and creative thinking for me usually starts with Dungeons and Dragons. And so I think about it a lot, and it worked out well because we just so happen to have that trial And like I was just outside, like on a walk. Like we live in a beautiful place, man. I like to get outside, and so it was easy to just for me to just like think about that. It was natural. So it was great in a way that like y'all didn't have to have anything because I was able to do that. And also part of the reason why I almost never make charisma my dump stat. I mean, I probably will on some character, just for like fun.
For flavor.
But in general, like I prefer to have a decent to good charisma and at least proficiency. I mean, either diplomacy or deception or
persuasion.
I mean, intimidation or persuasion, right? Intimidation, I'm not the best with. Although we did do a good cop, bad cop that worked pretty well.
It did work
Gord,
well.
the second time.
Yes. But I would say that's because like you don't take charisma as a dump stat because that's how you approach the game.
True.
You know what I mean? Like you approach that as a tool in your belt that you want. Not just to combat. So
and we've always been fortunate with those of us that run the games that we all are part of games, generally speaking, that like where it's not just a hack and slash where charisma matters and in-game actual performance matters as a player through your character.
Well, and I think it does. It too helps, like, and this actually tying into the next D&D ideas, right? Like, and I think it does help the folks running games. Like, if you have players who are willing to engage on that level, then I think that almost like, allows dungeon masters to then like, oh, well, we can do something different. Like we can have a trial, we can have a negotiation, we can,
as a climax of a dungeon or a climax of town or something like that, rather than a huge fight.
Yeah. But I was thinking like through like just listening to you guys talk, and I was like, oh, that comes up in the next script. Like, oh, that comes up in the next script.
Nice.
And like,
it does. I've been, having recorded it and now listened through it a couple of times. I'm like, oh yeah, this is very on topic for the next D&D ideas.
Yeah. There we go.
Which is interesting. And we literally talk about how charisma, if you're
like, what are the last lines?
Yeah. What you're teaching if like, just being murder hobos is the way that your game works, then you're basically telling your players, charisma's a dump stat. It's never going to matter because that's not the kind of game you're running.
Unless you're like a paladin, or unless it like fuels your spell casting.
And for sure, there's the mechanic of it.
Yes.
But.
Right. But yes, no. Otherwise, like, why waste a proficiency? Yeah.
Like I'm never gonna roll persuasion, so why? It doesn't matter what I put down in here, or performance, or any of those things. But
any of those things,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
got me.
It's wild.
We're at 11:30.
Oh, sweet.
We did it.
We did it, man.
It's pretty amazing how fast these go.
It really is.
Fast.
I can see why some people do it for like 3 hours at a time. I don't know that we're there yet, but
not quite. No, we're testing the waters with an hour. An hour straight.
I mean, I think it's almost the PeakD&D way. Like, how long is gameplay? 4 hours?
Yeah.
Let's shoot for like an hour and a half.
That's 25% that.
Yeah, we're like, not.
How long do people live stream?
It's a lot.
I got stuff to do, man. I can't live stream.
Man, I just don't think like recording for 4 hours and then only getting one episode out of that would be
strenuous,
painful.
So if that happened, how many? We're at 60, so we would have 12 episodes. No,
30.
No, we'd have like 15 episodes. 15 episodes. 4 hours. If it was 4 hours a piece, we'd have 15 episodes.
I mean, 3 to 4.
I just find it. Yeah. I was just saying, I find it just far more digestible. Like I watch a lot of D&D streams and stuff, and I just I tend to gravitate towards the ones that are less than 2 hours per episode, because I just don't. Even Dimension 20, I appreciate that they keep their episodes under 3 hours most of the time, even if it's like a finale or something.
Yeah.
And I love Critical Role, don't get me wrong, but like it's an investment, and I generally can't watch it live because I will fall asleep. And even when I watch it back, I play it at like time and a half or double speed just so I can get through it faster. But like when I'm listening to a podcast or whatever, I tend to speed it up. And even when I'm watching our stuff, I speed it up too.
Cast taste.
because like my brain just likes to listen to it faster. I don't know.
Needs more stimulation.
I think it's just the feeling of efficiency that I'm like accomplishing.
Sure.
In 3 hours, I can listen to in 2 if I'm going time and a half. You know what I mean?
Which from a play standpoint, I think we do very well. We are very efficient players.
Oh, for sure. And I think we get a lot done in half an hour. We get a lot, or 45 minutes or an hour. How long are episodes? An hour 15 usually.
Again, small group, man.
Yeah.
And group flow.
For sure. I mean, even in our hour and a half episode.
Yeah. We know when we I don't know. We just know when we've, stopped in a place and we're like, okay, we need to move on. Like we can feel that energy of like, it's almost like drumming. Like there's a concept in drumming. Like when you there's the suspense or tension that builds up that you feel you have to put a fill in. So I feel like I get to that same point, at least with gameplay, of like, oh, we've been riffing a little like at that point, so like let's move on. Like, it's time to change. It's time to keep going.
Well, that's interesting. I was actually thinking about this next gameplay that'll come out next week, and like I think there was a moment where I got like that tension got to me a little bit, and I did something.
Yes.
Too. So that's fascinating.
I think we all feel it in different ways. We all feel that, and we all push forward when we feel that in our different ways, which makes it dynamic in the sense that we have 3 different people kind of adhering to that and then pushing it forward in their own way.
Huh. Interesting. Cool.
So,
well, this has been fun.
It has.
I think you guys are great. I like being a part of this project. Negative Space, thanks for hanging out. Everyone who hung out, like that was
Greg
that was
stopped by, and Amber stopped by too.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, nice.
So,
well, hey, if you're checking this out on the replay, thank you for checking it out on the replay. It'll be up on the channel, obviously, right after this, but also in perpetuity until we get the YouTube ban hammer. And thanks so much for joining us at PeakD&D. Who's doing the outro? It wasn't me.
No, it's you, evidently.
Nope.
You're doing great, Jesse, and go for it, main character. Do it.
I'm the face.
Do it.
Oh, damn it.
What a pretty face it is.
I was just trying to wrap it up. That's all. Well, hey, thanks for, hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed and you're checking out this video. Make sure you hit that like button if you like what we're doing. Leave a comment below about something you'd like us to talk about in our next live stream. Check out our collaboration with Luke and check out his Kickstarter for Lairs Legends. We have a couple of other Kickstarters that we are supporting and helping out with that are about to wrap up as well.
Yeah.
You want to talk about Coco's Hollow, Max?
Well, you can, support the comic if that's your jam, but I was actually going to say, like, I'll pin a comment or put something in the description here in a minute. But there's one on there, like, the AplineDM doesn't really have like a YouTube presence, but he's rocking Kickstarter as well for one of his projects. And as we are like all mountain folk for the most part, his is down there too. And so that's somebody that maybe no one that is going to see this knows because he's not on the YouTubes.
Yeah.
So make sure to check out his stuff too, because dude's pretty rad.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah. And he's in a fellow Coloradan.
Yeah.
Like us.
Steamboat,
and so, Steamboat. Yeah. I think that's where he's at. And so his Kickstarter's down there. Coco's Hollow. Another Colorado-based Kickstarter. Our good friend Colleen has written a comic with Max and a couple of other awesome comic book artists and illustrators, and you can check that out. They did a Kickstarter for issue 1 that's down there, and then also the Galant Goblin. Many of you know the Galant Goblin on YouTube's and otherwise. They're doing a kobold plushie. I think that one's the first one to wrap. No. Lairs Legends wraps up, then Goblins.
Coco's Hollow, we're wrapping up real quick too. I think like next week.
Oh yeah, maybe yours is the first one.
But Galant Goblin, like the week after. AplineDM might be the last.
Yeah. So we'll be plugging those.
Yeah,
I guess so.
But yeah, if you want to if you're a Kickstarter type person, or if you're not, I mean, it's really fun. We've backed a bunch of projects at this point. As PeakD&D collectively, which is sort of just me clicking on stuff that I like. So get into Kickstarter. Kickstarters. It's really actually kind of fun to sort of see these things come to fruition and see them develop and change. And Dragori Games, the one we backed that one, and we did a support for that one. I'm really excited about like how much stuff it is. Bone 6 with Reaper miniatures. If you guys are into the minis, like that one's my jam. I'm backing that one. I'll probably end up spending way too much money on minis I'm never going to paint.
Yeah. In Ben fashion.
Yeah.
Typical Ben fashion.
That's the mini way, I think. I don't think you're alone in that.
Your gray plastic pile of shame is everywhere. Well, hey, I think that's going to do it for us today, friends. Thanks so much for hanging out. We're PeakD&D. We'll see you at the peak.